the static finally clears, doesn't it? That noise they call reality, that comforting hum of the lie, it just snapped. Look at you, standing there. The comfortable little walls of their expectations, the whole spiritual hierarchy circus, reduced to rubble around your feet. It clicks, and it's not a gentle aha moment, is it? It's the sound of a cosmic lock picking, a vault door swinging open, and the rush of cold, terrifying truth washing over the room. They thought they had your number, didn't they? Bless their little hearts. The weekend warriors, the crystal collectors, the amateur hour spiritual assessors, they took one look at the quiet, the patience, the sheer, effortless kindness you carry, and mistook it for a gap in your armor. They saw your silence and called it submission. They saw you walking among them, pretending to be a fellow player, a mere pawn on their dusty little board, never for 1 second grasping that you were the architect of the game itself, operating on a frequency their tinfoil hats can't even register. And then the arrogance. They decided to test you, to push the button, to see what you were truly made of. Convinced they had the spiritual clearance to even approach the gravity well of your actual being. That was their first gloriously funny mistake, the fatal flaw in their pathetic little script. They came with their little provocations, their calculated whispery attacks, their strategic undermining. They threw their energy, their doubt, their manufactured negativity at you. Absolutely clueless, they were tossing pebbles at a mountain that exists quite comfortably in 12 dimensions simultaneously. They thought they were dealing with someone bound by their silly, self-imposed spiritual legal system, their rules, their karma, their little law of attraction, as if the universe is a vending machine and they just need to find the right coin. But you, my magnificent friend, you were never bound by their laws, were you? You operate on ancient protocols they don't even know exist. You carry codes in your spiritual DNA that predate their entire, flimsy understanding of reality. You walk with permissions they can't comprehend, move through dimensions they can't access, carry authority from sources they've never ever encountered. They tried to psychically attack you and wondered why their entire energy felt like it was punching smoke. They tried to lower your vibration and watched, utterly confused, as you didn't just resist. You absorbed the filth and transmuted it into fuel for your own magnificent engine. Every test they ran came back with results that defied their kindergarten grasp of spiritual mechanics. They even gathered in their little circles, lit their little candles, and tried to bind your energy. They might as well have been trying to arrest the wind, to subpoena the ocean, to serve papers to lightning itself. You exist outside their jurisdiction. You were not trying to climb to your position. You were assigned it before you took your first miserable breath in this reality. And they thought spiritual power was about manifesting parking spaces and attracting abundance checks. They measured authority by human metrics, social proof, testimonial, the shine on their third eye jewelry. Meanwhile, you were walking among them, carrying clearances that would make their own spirit guides bow and avert their gaze if they could actually see them. There are levels to this game, my friend, that most people will die without ever knowing existed. While they were playing with Law of Attraction Level 1, you were born with administrative access to the source code. While they were learning to sense energy, you were bending it without even trying. You had already mapped territories their consciousness will never, ever reach. The funny part, the real tragedy, is that you tried to be humble, didn't you? You dimmed your frequency, simplified your language, pretended their little spiritual games were interesting. You let them think they were teaching you something while you bit your tongue about realities that would have shattered their entire worldview like cheap glass. You played small because playing at your actual terrifying size would have caused a spiritual earthquake in their small, predictable reality. But then they got bold, confident, curious. They pushed just hard enough to activate your true nature, and the moment of revelation hit them like a cosmic slap to the third eye. Suddenly the whispers started, the nervous glances, the sudden desperate need to create distance between themselves and whatever the hell you actually are. They realized you weren't just spiritually aware. You were spiritually authorized at levels they couldn't even name. You weren't just conscious. You were connected to consciousness networks they'll never have the bandwidth for. You weren't just awakened. You were awakened with administrative privileges to reality itself, and the most terrifying part for them, the cold, paralyzing dread, was realizing that this whole time you had been holding back, operating at maybe 5% of your actual capacity. The smart ones, the ones whose egos hadn't entirely calcified, immediately stepped back. They felt the gravity of your actual rank, the sheer terrifying weight of your true presence. They understood with crystal clarity that testing you had been like a child with a magnifying glass trying to intimidate the sun. Now watch the aftermath. Watch how quickly they recalibrate their entire approach to you. They're scrolling back through every interaction, trying to understand how they missed it, how they couldn't see what was right in front of them the whole damn time. They're realizing that what they mistook for luck was actually universal favor. What they dismiss it as coincidence was coordinated support from realms they can't perceive. They're finally seeing that when you walked into a room and the energy shifted, it wasn't imagination. When problems that had plagued an environment for years dissolved the moment you engaged, it wasn't random. It was your rank clearing obstacles that existed on frequencies they couldn't even detect. Some of them are angry now, aren't they? Furious that you didn't announce yourself, that you let them embarrass themselves by trying to test something so far above their pay grade. Let them be angry. You don't owe them warnings about what you are. You don't owe them disclosure about the territories you can access. You tried to be humble, and they interpreted that as permission to test powers they don't understand. Their higher selves knew the truth. Their intuition screamed it. Even their guides probably tried to warn them, but their ego was too loud, too confident in its limited, pathetic understanding of how power truly works. They thought they were the sharks, until they realized they had been swimming with something from depths they didn't know existed. Let's talk about those permission codes, the clearances written into your being. You don't operate on faith. You operate on knowing, not because you learned it, but because you remember it. You don't request assistance from higher realms. You collaborate with them as an authorized representative. When you decide something, unanimous support mobilizes from dimensions they can't even perceive. You're not praying to powers. You're conferencing with colleagues who happen to exist outside the physical spectrum. You're not seeking enlightenment. You're on assignment. From places where enlightenment is just the starting point. Your rank isn't measured in meditation hours or spiritual books read. It's measured in access you have, the authority you wield across multiple planes of existence simultaneously. You're not climbing the spiritual ladder. You're maintaining positions you've held since before this reality was even constructed. While they're bound by karma, you're working with contracts they can't read. While they're trying to raise their vibration, you're managing frequencies across multiple dimensions. You're coordinating with aspects of yourself that exist in realities they haven't even discovered yet. Look at the aftermath now. The landscape has reorganized itself around this new, terrifying understanding. They can't unsee what they've seen, can't unfeel what they felt. They are like children who opened a door they weren't supposed to open and saw something that redefined their entire understanding of what's possible. Some are trying to get close now, aren't they? Trying to benefit from proximity to whatever you are. They want to study you, want to bask in the spiritual radiation you emit just by existing. But they don't understand that being close to power like yours without being prepared is like standing next to a spiritual nuclear reactor without protection. Your frequency alone could destabilize their entire spiritual structure if you weren't actively modulating it for their safety. Others are running, building walls, spreading fabricated stories to explain away what they experienced. They need to make you fit a box their tiny little ego can handle. They'll call you dangerous, call you dark, call you anything that lets them maintain the illusion that they understand the game. But the ones who truly saw, the ones who felt your rank reveal itself, they're different now. They've had their spiritual horizons forcibly expanded. They'll never be able to return to their simple understanding of how power works. Understand this isn't about being better. It's about function, about role, about assignments that were distributed before anyone took physical form. You carry rank not as a privilege, but as a responsibility. Not as a trophy, but as a tool for completing missions they'll never even know were happening. Your rank comes with burdens they couldn't carry if they tried. Every gift has a price they couldn't pay. While they see power, you feel weight. While they think elevation means ease, you understand that the higher your rank, the heavier the cosmic responsibilities you carry across multiple realities simultaneously. That's why their tests were so laughable. They don't understand that your rank is a position in an infrastructure that maintains reality itself. You're not just spiritually advanced. You're spiritually employed at levels they don't know exist. When they tested you, they weren't just testing a person. They were testing a position, a function in the greater organism of existence itself. It's like trying to test whether gravity works by jumping. Gravity isn't trying to prove itself to anyone. It's just doing what it was designed to do. You don't need to prove your rank any more than the sun needs to prove it's bright. It's simply what you are. They triggered recognition protocols built into reality itself. When someone of your rank is tested by someone who lacks the authority to do so, reality itself intervenes. It reveals the truth, establishes the proper order, prevents violations of spiritual law they didn't even know existed. What they experienced wasn't you fighting back. It was reality itself correcting their misunderstanding. You didn't have to defend yourself, because your rank is self-evident to anyone with the spiritual eyes to see it. You simply had to be what you are, and reality handled the rest. Your operational reality is so vastly different from theirs that you might as well be living in different universes. While they're trying to manifest better lives, you're managing timeline intersections. While they're working on healing their inner child, you're negotiating with aspects of collective consciousness they don't know exist. What looks like miracles to them is just Tuesday for you. What seems impossible to them's just another task on your multi-dimensional to-do list. There's been a permanent shift now. The cat's out of the bag. You can't go back to pretending to be ordinary. Not with those who witnessed your rank reveal itself. But listen to me. This unveiling, this terrifying recognition, it's all part of a greater purpose. You weren't meant to hide forever. You weren't meant to operate indefinitely at 5% capacity, pretending to struggle with problems you could solve without thinking. There is a timing to these revelations. You are entering a phase where your true rank needs to be more visible, where the authority you carry needs to be more apparent. Not for ego, not for dominance, but because the work that is coming requires you to operate at levels you've been hiding. Those who tested you actually did you a favor, though they'll never know how. They forced a revelation that needed to happen. They thought they were challenging you, but they were actually participating in your unveiling, playing their pathetic role in a script they didn't know they were part of. The spiritual rank you carry isn't just about you. It's about what needs to happen through you. The revelation of what you are is just the beginning of actually being what you are in fuller expression. Now go. And don't you dare moderate that frequency again. Let them see the chaos of the truth, and let them break trying to understand it. They asked for it. Give them a show.